Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. After days of heavy rain and extreme heat, North Carolinians aren't just dealing with flood cleanup, they're also seeing a wave of insects. From mosquito swarms to lawn-killing worms, pest populations are spiking across the state. WRAL climate change reporter Liz McLaughlin joins to explain what's behind this summer surge and what we can expect next. Liz, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Grace.
So, okay, let's start with the basics. What exactly is going on here? What is it about heat and rain that brings these bugs out?
So we've had an intense stretch of rainfall across much of the state from Chantal, paired with high humidity and heat index values above 100 degrees. And that's really a perfect recipe for an insect outbreak. I spoke with an entomologist at NC State, Terry Billison, who really explained that insects kind of rely on two ingredients.
Most insects, in order to grow and develop, they need two things. They need heat and they need moisture.
So when you combine stormwater and summer heat, bugs grow faster, they breed faster, and they spread faster. And it's not just theoretical. Pest control companies are seeing it firsthand. They've gotten an influx of calls since those floods last week. Michael Connors with Moxie Pest Control told me that their call volume has really gone up since those storms.
Ants are the big one. Roaches, even mice trying to get in, get high, get dry, away from that rain. But most specifically and probably most impacted is mosquitoes.
And I imagine it's not just annoying, right? There's health risks to this, right?
Yeah, and they're serious. I talked to Michael Doyle, who's the state public health entomologist at DHHS, who says that West Nile virus is really the biggest concern in the triangle. Last year, the state saw its highest numbers of West Nile cases ever recorded, and that is particularly dangerous for seniors. In western parts of the state where, Helene happened, lacrosse encephalitis is a bigger problem. And that can be especially dangerous for children. And then along the coast in the eastern part of the state, what's called eastern equine encephalitis. It's rare, but it's a deadly concern.
Right. And I grew up with horses. I know that during the summertime, that's the time you've really got to be watching for any symptoms of that stuff. It can be really, really dangerous if an animal's to get that. Let's take a quick break right there and we'll be right back. So, Liz, we know mosquito season is worse this year, but what else should people be watching for?
Another insect showing signs of a comeback is the fall armyworm. These are small caterpillars that can move in large groups and can destroy a lawn in 24 to 48 hours, so very quickly. Last year, after Tropical Storm Debbie, thousands of homeowners across the state saw their lawns just turn brown pretty much overnight. And Billison says we could be headed for another outbreak like that again.
The whole system of the storm kind of catalyzed everything, and so we're not there yet, I don't think, but I anticipate that another significant rainfall event or two and these armyworm populations will be going.
That sounds like a lot for people to deal with. What can people do to make sure they're staying ahead of this?
So there's a few key things. First is really eliminating standing water around your home. You've probably heard this before, but I think a lot of people don't realize that even a small amount of water, like what would be in a bottle cap, could really be enough for mosquitoes to breed. So really check like any kids' toys that might have some standing water, maybe tarps, flower pots. And checking your gutters, because that can really be a problem area too, where they can breed. But really anything that can hold water. And then wearing repellent and really long sleeves during those peak hours, dawn and dusk, when mosquito activity is the highest, that could prevent, potentially a disease carrying bite. And then for lawns, for those armyworms that can eat your lawns, really keep an eye out for egg clusters on the fences or siding, and you can just remove those. That kind of prevents them from hatching and taking over your yard. And keep an eye out for brown patches, in your grass. That's often a first sign of armyworms, but again, they work so quickly. Once you see that brown grass, you're in trouble. You might be losing some of your lawn.
And so is this just a bad year because of this stretch of hot weather and rain that we've had, or is this more of a trend that we're seeing?
We're really seeing a trend. I mean, as a climate change reporter, I've covered, how warmer temperatures and more extreme rain events are really reshaping insect behavior and expanding their season. So not only are there more of them, but stretching over longer periods of the year, which I realized when I got my first mosquito bite in February this year. Billison told me that armyworms were active in North Carolina even all the way until December last year. That's those lawn-eating caterpillars, which is pretty unusual. So the more storms we get, the longer the heat sticks around, the more pressure we'll see from these pests, and again, for longer portions of the year, unfortunately.
Thank you, Liz. For more information on how climate and extreme weather are affecting your health, your home, and your community, you can visit WRAL.com. And be sure to subscribe to get every episode delivered to your feed. Thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.